Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to Ignite Edition 5, an initiative by EssProM Academy. I'm Ankita and I'll be your host for today's session. The buzzing discussion is on, oh no, is AI going to take our jobs and all, right? We have all talked about these around all over the world. This is the same thought everyone shares. Well, interestingly, this isn't the first time humanity has asked such a question. When computers entered offices, people feared losing their jobs. When the internet became mainstream, many believed entire professions would disappear. Even during the industrial revolutions, machines were seen as a threat. Yet today, we don't compete with these technologies, right? We work with them. So, as we have evolved, it's time to evolve our perspectives as well. How about we ask how can we use AI to become better at what we already do? Most of us already use AI every day. But let's be honest, how many times have you rewritten prompts after prompts because AI just didn't get it? It happens, right? Sometimes, whatever we want, we just don't get the same desired outcome. The problem isn't always the AI, sometimes it's the communication gap between the humans and the AI. So, knowing what to ask is important, and knowing how to ask is even more important. And when you are building AI systems, knowing why they fail is what makes the difference. So, that's exactly what today's session is about. So, understanding why AI agents hallucinate, why rack systems fail in production, when an LLM isn't the right solution, and how these challenges are solved in the real world. I am delighted to welcome you all, and I hope today's session leaves you with practical insights that you can apply long after we log off. With that, it is my privilege to invite the director of EssProM Academy, Dr. Shuja Bhattacharya sir, to deliver the inaugural address. Over to you, sir.
Right. Thank you, Okita. Thank you for the introduction. Right, spot on. Today we hear a lot about AI. We hear like it's a buzzword everywhere. For everything, people tend to use AI. But then, when we look into it and when we try to get into the core of what AI technology actually is, we find that there are some misconceptions that are there in the field, and always we do not use it the way it is expected to be used. And the tools that are there, hundreds of tools are there in the field, but we hardly use all of them. And maybe sometimes there are various confusions that come around when we try to use AI. Now, what we do understand is it is an emerging technology, and it is not like a very static technology. This is something which has been evolving every day. Today something is available, tomorrow something more, day after tomorrow something very different will be available. And in this kind of a dynamic scenario, it's actually pretty difficult to kind of keep up with whatever is there in the field. What we have done is today we've got one of the expert practitioners of AI on board. Now, what he has been doing is he has been using AI day in, day out to solve problems and to satisfy the customers of his company. So, who better than him to tell us a little bit more about how AI can be used and what AI can do and why do we need to use AI at all? Going back to the core question. So, we will hear from him. A couple of things that I wanted to tell you before we hand it over is number one, this session is getting recorded, and copy of this session will be available in our YouTube channel within a couple of days. If anybody wants to take a re-look at it, you can take a look. And the second thing is that the main target of organizing this session is to clarify doubts is to ensure that we talk about AI in the correct manner, and which will probably help you or help our students when you go for a job. I mean, there are various terms and terminologies, and there may be a lot of confusion. So that's what we wanted to clear up today. So let's see how best we can do that. Uh, we will, during the course of the session, we will keep everybody muted, and at the end of the session, we will open it up for questions. You can either unmute yourself and ask questions, or you can put your questions in the chat box, and Ankita will be reading it out to the experts. So we can do it either way. So without any further delay, back to you, Ankita.
Thank you so much, sir. Your thoughtful words and your encouragement have set the perfect tone for today's session. We are truly grateful to you for taking your time and taking this initiative. It is now my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today's session. We are honored to have with us Mr. Shomik Mukherjee. Mr. Mukherjee is a hands-on software solution architect with more than 20 years of experience in designing and implementing enterprise software solutions for the banking and retail sectors. Over the past decade, he has specialized in machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI, and currently works as Gen AI solution architect, building RAG-based assistants and AI agents. He is also deeply passionate about mentoring and sharing practical insights drawn from his extensive industrial experience. We are excited to learn from his expertise and gain a deeper understanding of why AI systems succeed, why they sometimes fail, and how we can build them more efficiently. With that, I warmly welcome Mr. Shomik Mukherjee. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Ankita. Thank you, Sujay sir, for this nice welcome. This is my pleasure. So what I plan to do in this session is not as an AI practitioner, right? So all of you are basically, I'm assuming that you want to actually start your journey as an AI engineer. So what I really want to do today is what currently, not as an AI user, but if you really want to be an AI engineer, what are the things that you must need to know if you want to get into AI engineering? Because the field is really vast and it's also expanding at a very breakneck speed, if I may say so. What was very relevant 1 year back is no longer that cutting edge in our field at this moment. So that is why what I constantly tell to my client or to my junior developers or to my team is what is really important is to understand what is going under the hood in the AI engineering, not to remember the syntax. Because in today's world, like for the last 6 months to 1 year in the industry, we are mostly generating the code using any AI tool, like using any one of the frontier AI tools, like either Gemini or Claude or something. But what is very important is for all of us who want to be AI engineers or basically who are basically AI engineers, but they want to polish their skills, is to understand the whys under it, because the how will change. And because this is unlike other fields, like for example normal Python programming. Of course we mostly code using Python, or normal database queries, like, so the tools, the hows are actually changing at a very fast rate. So that is why I always say it is very important to understand the basic concepts of LLM, deep learning, RAG, agentic AI, and whatnot. So in today's session, what I have planned is actually to open the world of what, for example, we as AI practitioners, what we are actually using in the industry. So what I actually wanted to do or plan to do in this session is basically open the world, not everything, because everything, of course, everything cannot be covered in a 45-minute session, 45 minutes to an hour session, but at least to actually, plant the curiosity in your mind or basically plant the roots so that you can yourself cultivate further if you want to know more about how we as AI engineers or AI architects are actually designing system. Okay, so with that said, I have created a small wizard style HTML thing which I will use as a reference. I will share my screen, so I hope my screen is visible. Can someone please confirm, Ankita,
Yes,
if you can?
sir, your screen
Okay,
is
thank you, thank you, thank you. So this is something which I will use as reference for our discussion. So the first thing, like as I mentioned, it is very important to understand in Gen AI because there are many tools, and unlike traditional database programming, unlike traditional object-oriented programming or whatever, this field is actually changing very fast. This is a very important distinction. So rather than how, the why is very important. So what is very important for us to know, like in the Gen AI landscape, there are different kinds of models, uh, and what we need to know is what is the purpose of every model. Instead of going into like how we can use the model or remembering the name of the model, remembering syntax, because every model has its own ways of uh, and has its own flavor. So instead of actually remembering that, understanding the big picture will actually make you a better AI engineer. Because in today's world, we also generate the code. Like we do not hand code. Like even 1 year back, we were actually doing a lot of hand coding, but now we are actually generating the code using some of the popular agentic tools like Claude, like Cursor. Cursor is my favorite. And if you are actually looking for a code generation tool, then you can look at Cursor. But please remember, you should be the controller. Okay, so what actually works and what does not? So all of us know LLMs, right? Like ChatGPT, Claude, Mistral, Google Gemini, all these are examples of LLM, large language models. Now, one thing which, like, for example, I know that as an AI user, all of us use LLMs for every single thing, for doing scientific calculation, to ask, to basically summarizing something, to basically creating a presentation and whatnot. But if your role is an AI engineer or as an AI architect, then we need to know like what we should use LLM for and what we should not use LLM for. That is very important. Why? Because because as an architect, as a developer, we should always use the right tool for the job, right? For example, if I for many reasons, the most important reason is efficiency. The next reason is cost. So LLMs are extremely capable, but they are very costly also. So if at scale, they are also very costly. So for example, just think of like whether, for example, if you have a bowl of soup, are you going to drink, or are you going to eat that soup with a fork, with a knife? Of course not, right? So ideally, you should actually eat that soup in a bowl with a spoon. So that is what I mean, right tool for job. So when we will work as an AI engineer, not as an AI user, when we will work as an AI engineer, we should not use LLM for standard things which we can do programmatically. Like we can write like we were writing Python programs to solve some problem. For example, to interact with the database, to fetch some data or to insert some data, to do some calculation, or to get some real-time data from some other API. So we should continue using Python program for that. What we should use LLM for? What we should use these large language models for? What are their strengths? We should ideally use them for analysis. So the biggest strength, in my opinion, of LLMs is its very deep understanding of text, audio, all kinds of non-ASCII resources, if I may say. So, for example, if you actually have a problem where and And often our problems, our real life problems, which we need to solve as AI engineers, are often hybrid problems. They're not very simple problems like just pull some data from database or get data from API, not like that. There will be mix. And as an AI engineer, we need to understand that for any deterministic thing, which can be easily done using a program, using a Python code, we should do it using Python code. For anything which is kind of non-deterministic, like, for example, creating a beautiful analysis of some report, or correlating multiple reports and coming up with a root cause analysis, or maybe summarizing the text, which I'm sure that all of us are already using summarizing text, or basically generating different kinds of text, audio, video. I will show you some samples. So we will use LLM for that. So as an AI engineer, let this be your first takeaway from this session. Because as an AI user, I know that all of us are using LLMs for every single thing, but that is not what AI engineers should do. Okay? Next thing. Now, as an AI user, all of us are using ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever. Now, if that is so good, why there is so much of need from the industry, from our customers, to build a custom app? Why? Because of many reasons, actually. To actually put it very simply, like every single customer, for example, we frequently get requests from different kinds of e-commerce companies to create their own chatbot, which mimics their style, which mimics their tone, which has a very deep understanding of their product, not only the count and the variety of the product, but also the nature of the product, what the product is good at and what the product is bad at. So, for example, when somebody will interact with the chatbot, with that chatbot, it will not be like a very dry interaction. It will be like he will think that it is a superhuman, or like the owner of the e-commerce company is actually interacting. So an AI-enabled chatbot can be so uh, uh, mm, can be so intelligent, can be so knowledgeable, and can be so interesting for the end customer. I will give you. I have actually coded a very simple example, a study buddy. I will show you the code. Let this be another takeaway from this session. So this is a very simple app which can serve as a study buddy for you. And this is an app which is using LLM, but still we have developed an app on top of LLM. And this is something, as an AI engineer, you will be frequently required to do. I'm asking a question. What is the SSL in app mode and in a non-app mode? So let us see the answer. So basically, the purpose of the study buddy is to explain any concept, any complex concept in a very lucid way, in a very easily understandable way, which will come up in the app mode. So it is interacting with the LLMC. It has given an answer. SSL stands for secure socket layer, etc. Imagine sending a letter to someone. You want it to be delivered safely, and then and then a nice story there, which is something which can actually anybody can understand if you look at this. But if I actually ask it in raw mode, then see what answer that it puts. In both the cases, actually, I'm sending the request to the LLM with a prompt, but the app is actually creating a persona. So the app is actually saying, and the app is actually saying, imagine that you are a study guide, and you need to explain the concept in a very lucid way so that it is understandable to any normal user. Do not take any unnecessary technical jargon if that is actually too heavy, something like that. Now let us see the raw mode answer, and you will see how heavy that answer is. So this is LLM. LLM is taking a bit of time. LLM can take a bit of time. By the way, this LLM, so see this answer. Don't you think that this answer is much more complex? Of course, this is heavy with all the technical nitty-gritties of how SSL works under the hood. So this might not be something which a student who is just studying computer science may be able to digest in the fast code. So for this kind of reasons, that one of the primary requests that you will get from your end user is to create an app, is to create an AI app which will talk to the LLM, but will also do a lot of things under the hood and give the kind of ideal answers that your end users expect. Okay, now I will come to something very interesting. RAG. I think all of you know like what RAG is by this time probably. Like, what is RAG? What is the full form of RAG? Retrieval Augmented Generation. Why? So I really want that all of you, let this be the third takeaway from this session. That when you go away, you really know why do we need RAG? Because after working in the industry for such a long time, I see that even the junior developers who are working in the industry, I'm saying something like, or also some clients, they're still not very clear about the purpose of the RAG. Like, I mean, why do we need RAG? If the LLMs are so powerful, if the LLMs know everything about the internet, so why do we still need a retrieval augmented generation? We need it when we need the LLM to be more knowledgeable or to be more precise about some specific information. Say, for example, we want to create a knowledge assistant for physics specific to some class, for example, specific to, say, for example, class 10 or class 12. We want to create a knowledge assistant for a particular subject, say psychology, for honors or for at master's level. Of course, the LLM is very knowledgeable, but then what we really need is we need to do some custom development. We need to feed more and more deep research-oriented topic, not only research-oriented, deep subjects into LLM, and we need to design the application in a way that the answers are more tuned towards the students or towards the viewers who are specifically interested about the subject. Of course, a generic LLM of today's world, like GPT-5 or the latest version of Claude or the latest version of Google Gemini, are extremely capable, but they are also, if you use them on a regular basis, they are also very costly. So what we do, for the clients who actually want to build a knowledge assistant, for example, for their own customer, or for example, a professor wants to build a knowledge assistant for his physics students or for his psychology students. So then, as an AI engineer, what you should know is, in that case, we do not involve ChatGPT or Google Gemini or for that matter, any public LLMs, because of multiple things, which I cannot cover in this small time. But what we actually do is we build a very custom model, and we use this RAG concept, wherein we feed that custom model with maybe with some thousand very specific to physics or psychology, whatever the case may be, with those kind of data, with textual data, with audio, video, whatever data, to that model, and then expose the application on top of that. That is how RAG is built, not basically using a public LLM as such, for multiple reasons. And then there are ways to actually make the RAG extremely capable, like semantic chunking, re-ranking, hybrid search, quantization. So these are more advanced concepts, and I'm not, in the interest of time, I'm not going into the details of this, but in short, like the RAG can be further fine-tuned to actually make it extremely useful and very specific to the end user. And these are some of the techniques which help us to do that, and still run at a very cheap price, which is affordable for the end customer. Okay, now this page is something really important. As AI engineers, as budding AI engineers, you must know that LLMs are just one type of generative models. LLMs are basically, when we call when we say LLM, large language models, but apart from language, there are many other cases also, like diffusion models. Diffusion models are those which are used to create images, create videos. You must have used some kind of diffusion models under the hood. Computer vision models, which are used to detect objects, to count objects from a moving video, to do intrusion detection system. Speech to text to speech, which are widely used nowadays in different kinds of scenarios to mimic a customer service executives data, or in various kinds of use cases. And then embedding models. Embedding models are another very interesting area where we take a text chunk and we convert it into a vector. And this is such a deep subject. In my opinion, these embedding models by themselves are actually a very important topic, almost as important as the LLMs themselves. It's such a deep topic that it requires really multiple sessions to cover embedding models. But in short, what I really want you to actually your takeaway from this session is to understand that when we talk of generative AI, it's not only text generation. We talk about image, video generation, computer vision, speech to text, embedding, everything, whatever you see here. Okay, another thing which I really want you to actually be accustomed to is Hugging Face. Hugging Face is another extremely important place, or that is basically a repo, that's basically a website. So when you go back after this session, what I would request you is go and visit Hugging Face. Hugging Face is basically the repository where we, the AI engineers, the AI architects, it is basically the playing ground of AI engineers and architects. It is basically a place where there are some 2 million models, 2 million open source models as of today, 2 million open source Gen AI models spanning across multiple disciplines: text generation, audio generation, video generation, image generation, text to speech. So all these disciplines come under generative AI. So whenever you are actually trying to generate something, be it text, be it audio, video, image, all of them come under generative AI. So Hugging Face actually contains some more than 2 million models. Yes, you heard it right. More than 2 million models, which actually we AI engineers, we use it to actually build our own software. So I was saying it, I think in one of the previous slides, like when we as in the AI engineer, we build a RAG or we build a simple application, simple AI application. Normally, we do not use a public LLM for multiple reasons: for security, for cost, for efficiency, multiple reasons which cannot be covered in this short session. So what we do is, and we do not need to, and that is not how. So this is one important thing, like which I want should be your takeaway from this session. So that is what I call the why and the what, not the how. Because the how, you can always figure it out just asking your favorite AI friend. But why we do not use any one of the standard, any one of the public LLMs like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini? Because of security, because they are extremely heavy, because of cost. So we should always use the right tool for the job. So whenever we need to build a very simple LLM app or a very simple chatbot, we do not need the full power of ChatGPT, for example. We can do it at a much lesser cost. We can do it, and how can we do it? We can actually use one of the open source models from here, and that is how we do it actually. And then build a small RAG on top of that, and that is how we actually ship this, build this. So I would request all of you to spend some time with Hugging Face. It has models, it has data sets, and it has also spaces. So Hugging Face is one of the most favorite places, is one of the most favorite zone of us, the AI engineers, architects who are working in the industry. So would request you to get yourself familiar with Hugging Face. Now I am going to tell you something which maybe would be very interesting for you. Like, what are the different roles that you can think in the AI engineering, in the AI engineering landscape? Because there are different roles, and what is the ask from different kind of roles? Like how these roles actually like, for example, what is basically the ask from a GenAI app developer? So a GenAI app developer is something who is good with Python, who can actually combine a RAG, basically pull up data from a database or pull up data from an API, and then also ask LLM, send a very nice prompt to LLM, and get the thing done. So a GenAI app developer or an architect is the person who is actually developing the app. Maybe these two roles, like now in the industry we'll hear basically different kind of roles, and that is why I wanted to name them here so that you do not get confused when you see all these roles. But in my opinion, like Gen AI developer or applied AI engineer or agent developer, their work is something similar, or I mean there is a lot of overlap. But here this ML ops, this role is little bit different. And in this role, people are actually required to deploy the model, deploy the code via the CI/CD pipeline, to the cloud platform or to some kind of platform. So this role is little bit different, and in order to be ready for this role, apart from the GenAI knowledge, you also need to have some DevOps knowledge. So these are the different roles that are currently, I mean, these three roles, as I mentioned, you will frequently see in job description, but there is in my opinion, they are mostly similar. Okay, something more interesting, why LLMs hallucinate? Yes, that's a very interesting topic. I will go to it. I will, what I was